Hello and thank you for joining today's edition on Journalist Hangout. I'm Ayodele Ozubakun. Today on the program, President Buhari meets with new service chiefs, says Nigeria is in a state of emergency over rising insecurity. Ondo or your governors meet with President over herdsmen crisis as Makinde seeks redeployment of more mobile policemen to Oyo State. President Buhari signs COVID-19 health protection regulations 2021 into law as Nigerians' recoveries from virus surpass 100,000. And later in the show, refineries shut for 15 straight months lose 152 billion naira. I'll be hanging out with Babajide Kolade Otitoju and Paul Dada. So if you're ready, let the hangout start now. Oh, thank you for joining us. It is expected that a new broom should sweep cleaner. So Nigerians, including President Muhammadu Buhari, expect the new service chiefs to see defeat of insecurity. At a meeting with service chiefs at the presidential villa in Abuja, President Buhari told them that the country is in a state of emergency regarding insecurity, hence the need to serve well and bring the wanton killings and abduction to a halt. Babajide, they have their KPI, the job cut out for them, and these new guys, any moment from now, should hit the ground running.
Yes, I think today is the official handing over. If they've not done it now, they probably will do it anytime from now. So we expect so much from this new set of service chiefs, because for so long we expected real progress in the war against terror, but we continue to be fed with the fiction that defeat had been recorded. Defeat of the enemy had been recorded, but the truth is that the enemy is yet to be defeated. Whichever way we look at it, security has literally collapsed in our nation, and if people accuse some of us of talking so much about security or of scaremongering, the president, by saying that we are in a state of emergency in insecurity, says exactly what we have been saying for some time now. I'm happy that this president is confirming some of what we had said in the past. It's now repeating some of what we had said in the past, which effectively puts to shame those who would rather, even when the president has not done what is right, will support him. It effectively puts them to shame, because what the president is saying now, that we are in a state of emergency in insecurity, it puts a stamp on what we had been saying, that there is a need for a fresh energy, for a fresh impetus. You know, the presidency also said yesterday that a change was necessary to inject fresh energy, fresh impetus. That's all we always asked for. That's what we have always talked about. There's a need for fresh ideas. You look at the way the war against terror has been conducted, you know that beyond bringing in new helmsmen, you also need new tactics. I have repeatedly opposed the idea of the super camp. The super camp will protect soldiers, no doubt about it. The ease with which Boko Haram was overrunning army bases, the moment we created super camps, that stopped. But it left many communities undefended, because some of the army bases, the small army bases that were located in some of those communities, especially the far-flung ones, were wound up, and the soldiers were collapsed into super camps. I've never seen anything like that. You now left a lot of those places undefended. You can now see why many of those communities, nobody's living in them, because people don't want to die. If you know that Borno North, for example, Boko Haram has tremendous presence in that area, and you want to stay in an area where you are not guaranteed of any form of security, of course people will not go there. Look at Guzamala local government, for example. So much money was spent. The place was rebuilt. People were relocated to the place in 2018. Then Boko Haram went there and slaughtered people. Today, not one soul lives in that area. And that's the local government of the Speaker of the state. He knows that, he's watching me, he knows I'm saying the truth. Because his father died recently and his father was buried in Maiduguri, not in their hometown. These are facts. We need great transparency in the conduct of the war. We don't need people being paid to abuse journalists for saying the truth. We don't need people sitting. We don't need freelance miscreants staying on social media and abusing people for asking for greater impetus, a fresh impetus in the war. Because we are all stakeholders.
Paul, so looking at these fresh guys, and I expect that in terms it will translate to ideas. A lot of Nigerians, they've been talking about, Nigerians are very funny people. They've been talking about changing the service chiefs. Right now, I discovered that since yesterday, people have been writing about the legality of changing the service chiefs without going to the National Assembly. And I looked at it and what do we want as a country?
Well, for starters, when I heard about the announcement of the new service chiefs, I was not too excited. I'll tell you why. I was not too excited because it came so late. Okay? Also, we are talking about the pedigree of this men. Fine. Those who were there also had pedigree. So I decided to be optimistic, but my optimism is a guarded one, it's a cautious one. Now, I hope about the people complaining, about the legality of this issue, I hope the president knows what he's doing, because Festus Keyamo, you remember that Festus Keyamo took, that's when E.A. Jerika was appointed and all of that, and a court actually pronounced that they must go through National Assembly. Festus Keyamo was even interviewed on this current appointment, and he opined that they have not started, that they will still go to the National Assembly. But apparently,
they will go.
Maybe they will have. I don't think there's anything wrong in them acting. Operating an acting capacity at the moment, because you cannot leave a vacuum. There. But now,
the National Assembly is on recess.
Yeah, National Assembly is on recess. But the truth of the matter is the security of the country is very important. Security-wise, Lady Nigeria is bleeding on all sides. Everywhere. There's no soundness in our body. Every part of the country is bleeding. Southwest, northeast, northwest, north central, south-south. These are the days that only the bravest can travel by road. Only the bravest of us can travel by road now. It's so bad. Even Lagos, you may think, okay, we don't have this herdsmen issue in Lagos, but there was a time that you could drive around in the night in Lagos, and your heart will not be in your mouth. During the time of fashion, if you remember, you could drive 1 a.m., 2 a.m. But now, the situation is not as it is now. So the service chiefs, we don't want rhetorics and all of that. We want action. And then we want synergy. One thing that's very, very important is we want synergy. We've seen, under this administration, we've seen agencies of government singing discordant tunes. We've seen junior ministers and senior ministers, quarreling. We've seen an agency of a ministry and a ministry singing discordant tunes, being at loggerheads. So if we are going to fight insurgency, if we are going to fight abduction, if we are going to fight these wanton killings, these service chiefs must work together. They must work together with other law enforcement agencies. They must work together with the police, DSS. So all we want to see in this country, what we want to see is that we want to begin to sleep with our 2 eyes closed again. We want to travel by road and then know that, yes, we are secure. So they had better start to work And like BKO said, yes, you can't be doing the same thing the same way and expect a different result. Apparently, the men who were there had run out of ideas. We've seen their best. Okay? So we need to rethink our strategy. We need to rethink our operations. We need to rethink our approach to this particular issue. And I wish them well. I hope things improve.
I saw one video today. It's very worrisome. I cannot readily confirm that that's within our territory. I saw some group of men, as in they were in their hundreds. They were speaking something like a French language, holding on to, highly sophisticated equipments, and the way they were moving, and they were even pausing to take selfie and everything. And I said, look, if this is what is happening, this is the way the bandits or the influx of the bandits to the country, that means we have a very big problem at hand. Because they get apprehended by the police, they parade them week in, week out. Still, these people, they are still operating all around the country.
No, the truth is, it could be a video shot in Mali. It could be Niger Republic. Those two countries are like failed states. And the insecurity in both countries directly affects us. Because you see fighters streaming into Nigeria from Mali through Niger Republic and coming into Nigeria through Yobe State. You see fighters from Libya, freelance fighters from Libya coming into Nigeria, passing through Chad, and then entering Niger Republic and straight into our country. So because of what's going on around us, we are negatively affected by the war in Mali, negatively affected by the fact that in Libya today, there's no central authority that controls the affairs of the country. People have, warlords have their various territories, and the central government has control of Tripoli, and that's basically it, which was similar to what we had in Somalia, although African troops from Kenya and some other African countries have helped to roll back some of the gains that Al-Shabaab recorded, but it's still, Somalia is still not a safe place, still very much like a failed state, and that's what we have in Niger Republic. I've been talking about it for some time. Our security forces arrested a man from Niger Republic who sells weapons to bandits and other criminals in the northwest. So we need to find a way to bring these bandits under control. Targeting Zamfara and Katsina especially, and Niger. As I speak to you now, the moment Boko Haram fighters heard that Chadian troops entered Nigerian territory through the Kwa, they started migrating away from Borno State. And they are heading towards Niger State. Remember, Shekau posted a picture of his fighters in Niger State. So those who fool themselves that these guys are only limited to the northeast, in the fullness of time, if we don't move, and I'm happy that the current Chief of Army Staff knows that this is the situation of things, I'm sure they are going to address it. The attacks on them in that area is causing them to flee Sambisa through northern Bama, and they are migrating with their families to the North Central, specifically to the Mokwa area of Niger State. This is what is happening. It's not fiction. Let the security forces, let them do the needful. When Chadian troops crushed Boko Haram in the Lake Chad Islands, I raised an alarm that some of them were fleeing. I even mentioned the location that they were going. But somehow, we didn't take action, and they managed to come into Sambisa through Damboa. The rest is history. Right now, we must not allow it to happen. These guys must not be allowed to escape from that area. That is the job of the MI-35P, the job of the M171E. Go after these people, because once they find refuge somewhere else, there will be no peace in that area. There was a report that I also read today that Boko Haram even collects abductees from bandits. They buy abductees from bandits. So you can imagine it was the sort of thing that happened in Kankara, where Shekau commissioned bandits to help him to kidnap schoolboys. So we have all kinds of problems, and these new service chiefs must know that they have their job cut out for them. They must not repeat the mistakes of their predecessors, because that would be terrible. They must have their eyes on the prize, and that prize is to defeat not just the insurgency, but the criminalities that we are seeing across the North Central and the Northwest especially.
Paul, the final word for them?
Well, they know what the problems are already. They should please work better and work well. Now, on the issue of foreigners coming into the country, I think we need to work with the countries they are coming from. You know, how can those countries help us to stop them, even before they get here? Like the last time when I came here, I said that there must be regional collaboration. It's very, very important. So beyond identifying them within the country, arresting them, we can't take preemptive action. You know, we can stop them from coming in if we collaborate with other countries like Chad, like Niger, and the rest.
All right. Now, the recent noise about herdsmen crisis in Nigeria's southwest was loudest in Ondo and Oyo states. So it was understandable when the governors Rotimi Akeredolu of Ondo and Seyi Makinde of Oyo State met separately with President Muhammadu Buhari in Abuja over the security situation in the region. Governor Makinde sought deployment of more mobile policemen to the state to security. Let's hear from Governor Seyi Makinde. Okay, I think my producer is trying to get that clip. Now,
there's been a lot of fake news all around, so I wanted to be sure that.
Let's talk, please.
all right, I think my producer is yet to get that clip. We expect that clip from Governor Seyi Makinde. But Ondo and Oyo State, peculiar situation they have in the southwest, and the most trouble parts can readily be said these two states in the region.
Okay. The problem is we give criminals too much time to hibernate and ultimately mess us up as a people. I spoke about the need for the governor of your state to take control of the situation, show leadership, and that apparent absence of leadership was what threw up someone like Sunday Igboho. I've said that what Sunday Igboho did amounts to doing something laudable in an illegal way. But if a man feels bothered that his people are being killed and decided to take action, when the governor that was there chose not to take action, you can't be condemning him. Because at the end of the day, his action triggered an action. And the governor of Oyo State had to even go as far as meeting the president. And he told the president some of the measures that he's going to take. Those measures ought to have come before now. If those measures were taken, we are sending Amotekun, we are sending 200 of them to Ibarakba and parts of Okeogun. If we had taken that step, at the time when Sunday Igboho came up with his 7-day ultimatum, if we had taken action, if we had not simply looked at him like, look, what is he going to do? That tension, we will have dealt with the tension that then began to creep into that environment. It's unfortunate that we let things go on until things got so bad and houses were burnt and all that. Today, I believe that the measures that have been taken, and if we see sincerity in the implementation of the strategies that they have come up with, there will be improvement in security in that area and the entire southwest region. I agree absolutely with the Ondo State governor that you can't have people doing night grazing, because that's the period when they invade people's farms, destroy people's farmlands and all that. You can't also have underage children as herdsmen. How much control do they have over those animals? We can also have so-called herdsmen carrying AK-47, because we've seen clearly that beyond simply parading themselves as herdsmen, they also kidnap people. Sometimes you see cattle on the road, you are forced to slow down, and you get kidnapped in the process. There are examples of occasions when these things happen. There's a relation of mine now in the hands of kidnappers. She was kidnapped in Igbo Ife in Kogi State. I've been calling Kogi officials, please help us to rescue these people. After all, you told me that you chased away all the kidnappers in the state. But we know better now. These guys, the kidnapping economy is so strong that no matter the efforts that you take, they are not prepared to stop. So we have to be more determined. We should be ready to crush them. We should be ready to crush them. And as Makinde said, Governor Makinde said, there is a need for synergy between state-run security operatives and federal security operatives. That's Amotekun and the police. If we don't have that,
we must work together.
We won't achieve success. A situation in which Amotekun that is not permitted to prosecute, that is not even permitted to detain, will catch criminals and then go to hand over to police. Police will say, no, they are not going to accept them. It's irresponsible. It has to stop. Every one of us is a potential victim, except you do not go out of your house, you do not travel. It used to be fun for us to travel across our country. It's no longer fun.
It's not possible.
It's no longer fun. It's a big risk. Even on the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway, people have been kidnapped. At least some expatriates were kidnapped recently. So you can't say that place is safe. No, it's not. The forests around that area, they are not safe. It's only at the heart of the city that you can say, okay, but you go to a place like a state like Taraba, they are even kidnapping the people in broad daylight inside their houses. So where are we going? We've got to take the right steps. And it's a good thing that these governors have gone to the president to outline their plans.
Okay.
The president must support them in the best way possible.
Okay, I think we still have that clip by Governor Seyi Makinde.
There's been a lot of fake news all around. So I wanted to be sure that Mr. President clearly have a first-hand information, from myself, which I did, and we also exchanged ideas about what we need to do better. Some of the programs that we have put in place to ensure that this security issue is tackled. So one of the issue that I discussed with Mr. President is the fact that Oyo State, the landmass is quite big. I mean, Oyo State is close to 29,000 square kilometers, and if you take all the states in the southeast geopolitical zone of Nigeria, if you take Imo, add it to Abia, add it to Enugu, add it to Anambra, add it to Ebonyi, they're still not as big as your state. And the state right now only has 2 mobile police squadron. So I requested for more mobile police squadron to be deployed to Oyo State, and also our joint security outfit. We ask for support for them. And in terms of, because the underlying issue here also has to do with limited opportunities. The tension will definitely go down if a lot of people, a lot of our youth are gainfully employed.
Thank you for joining us. Paul, we listened to Governor Seyi Makinde. Now it's as if the federal government and the state government, they've taken this thing very seriously, and in no time, I'm sure the security situation in Ondo and Oyo State will definitely improve.
Hopefully. Governor Seyi Makinde is asking for 200 additional mobile policemen. Well, it's good, but it's not only Oyo that is under-policed in Nigeria, but beyond having policemen, we need to listen to the people. You need the people. People are stakeholders in this security issue. You recall that Seyi Makinde himself sent a delegation to that area, Ibarakpa area, and then they were telling that delegation that they had paid, I think, over 50 million in ransoms, to these people, to the bandits and the kidnappers. Okay, so where are these people? Where are they hiding? Where in the forest exactly are they hiding? Now, the mobile policemen are probably just there for operations, to go and arrest and all of that. But when it comes to intelligence gathering, you need to actually interface with the people. Because if you don't do this, you just all your efforts will just be in vain. It was the failure to listen to the people, the people's cries, the people's heartaches, that threw up a Sunday Igboho. Now, Sunday Igboho, I call him an effect of a cause. It's a consequence of inaction. Okay? So, Sunday Igboho action woke everybody up now. But we shouldn't always have a Sunday Igboho situation before we can wake up. Okay? Do we need a Sunday Igboho to also wake us up in education? Do we also need a Sunday Igboho to also wake us up in the area of the economy? So what they actually need to do is to listen to the people. Okay? They know the routes. They know where these people are being taken to. And of course, the Fulani community. We need to be very careful also that we don't say, okay, we don't stereotype ethnic groups. There are a lot of Fulani people that just want to go about doing their business. They are not part of this. But you need to interface with them. If people are, like we said that people are coming from other countries, if they are infiltrating them and they are not speaking English, they are speaking French, they can identify them that these are not our people. So the Fulani community, the indigenous communities, with the law enforcement agents, have to work together. We just want to have peace. We just want to have rest in our different communities. But let us hope that this move that is going on, though it should have happened long ago, but it's belated, but it's not too late. Okay? If we cannot save those who have been killed, if we cannot save those whose properties have been damaged and all of that, we can prevent other people from experiencing the terror that the other people went through. So I do hope, I hope that we are going to have rest in the Southwest. We are going to have rest in other parts of the country too.
Babajide, on Governor Akeredolu, I think he has finally succeeded in getting his message across. You know, at the initial stage, it was misrepresented. So with all this resolution,
deliberately,
with all this resolution and everything, it is clear that this is what is set out at the issue. And with the resolution with the Miyetti Allah guys, you know that yes, he succeeded in pushing forward what he wanted.
Yes, he pushed his agenda out aggressively, and his colleague governors, 3 of them from the Southwest and 2 from the North, they also supported him. And what I found most interesting and most profound was the fact that the Miyetti Allah guy said, we agree with the governor that whoever wants to operate within the forest of Ondo State should be registered with the government.
Simple.
We agree with the government that no underage boy should be controlling, or what is it called, should be a headsman, should be leading cattle around our communities. No, it should actually be in school. That's the way it should be. Then open and night grazing, they also agreed. So who are the people who disagree with the government, with the governor of Ondo State now? Whoever sees all of this and says the governor did not do the right thing is an enemy of peace. That means that person does not want peace. Where do they take people to when they kidnap them? It is those forests. So we need to know those who inhabit the forest. In any case, they are forest reserves. So they are meant to protect the animals there and the trees. But people now use them to kidnap fellow Nigerians. In any case, a lot of the kidnappers are not Nigerians, but a good number of them are Nigerians, and we know them. You see, someone spoke to me, one of my friends from northern Nigeria. He said, you people are joking with fire in the Southwest. He said he's been reading some of the comments that people are making on social media and other places. He said we should see what Akeredolu is doing as the right thing, that if this thing degenerates, we will be like Zamfara. We will be like Katsina, where literally the bandits are out of control. And there are local governments that they've literally taken control of. Just like in Niger. You go to Shiroro, bandits are in charge. You go to Muya, bandits are in charge. You go to Rafi, bandits are in charge. Whereas all of these places, Tegina, all of those places, we used to enjoy traveling to all of those places. They are now homes of bandits. Before things degenerate in Ondo State, in Osun, our governors must sit up, do their work, play less politics, and put greater accent on the welfare and security of the citizenry. Politics will come, but if you place politics over the welfare and protection of your citizens, then you are a bad governor. You are a bad governor. You deserve not to occupy the seat. So this is the time for our governors to sit up and map out the right strategies to ensure that we don't become like Zamfara. Because history will not judge them in the right way. History will judge them harshly if they close their eyes or they just fold their arms and watch us become like Zamfara, where bandits can strike anytime.
Riots. Now, moving on now. Nigeria's COVID-19 cases continue to rise, instilling fear that things may spiral for an alarming level. But after the federal government has stepped in about them, President Muhammadu Buhari has signed the COVID-19 Health Protection Regulations 2021 into law, containing some containment measures. The number of those who have recovered from the virus is also rising. The country has surpassed 100,000 recoveries. Paul, we are taking track of this thing, easy and steady, and it keeps increasing, and the death rates is something that we should pay attention to now.
Exactly. The number of recoveries may be increasing, but the death rate is also increasing. On between this is Thursday. On Wednesday, the death rate increased by 22. The fact is this: we can't afford to be playing the ostrich here. Government is trying. Okay, government is trying, though I think government is overwhelmed. But the truth of the matter is, everybody must cooperate. Everybody must cooperate. Many people are in need of oxygen, and oxygen is in short supply. One of my colleagues went to an isolation center in Lagos, and when she got there, she saw a man on a stretcher outside. It was placed outside, and oxygen was in his, was applied on him, and he was gasping for breath. It will seem to me that even the words can't contain people anymore. Okay, we keep having people, more people testing, and that's the official record we have. We don't even know the number of those who die at the COVID, but it's not traced to COVID. Now, what I actually want to say, I'm very happy about these measures. These measures have become law, but my worry is actually getting the people to keep to this to keep to the law. Now, the unions, for example, unions, the transport unions, market unions, we have to actually engage. Government has to engage with them. People actually obey those unions more than government. These unions also have their task forces. For example, part of the provisions, part of the regulations is that there must be enough spacing in public transport. You recall that when the lockdown first started, I think normally buses take 4 people, that it was reduced to 2. And they were keeping to it because their leadership enforced it. Their leadership enforced it. But later, everybody became, we became relaxed. And nothing is happening now. People are not keeping to it. People are not keeping to it. Go to the parks. People don't go outside. People don't go with their face mask and all of that. So we need to appeal to the unions. We need to appeal to the religious leaders. When religious leaders speak, people think God is speaking. Okay? If we can convince the utterances of some of the religious leaders are not okay. Are not okay. So we need to convince them to speak to their people. We need to convince the balance. Now, the law enforcement agencies have also been asked to, arrest people and all of that, but it's not just about arrest. You can have this, police can have this, what do they call it, PCLC meetings, that police community relations meetings, and then talk to the DPOs, can talk to interface with the community heads, the CDAs and all of that, and all of the others, that look, talk to your people. Together, we can nip this menace in the bud together. But if we have, Buhari can make laws, but laws can be observed in the breach. And I want us to, I think arrest should be the last resort. I mean, if somebody is moving around without a face mask and a policeman approaches that person and says, "Gentleman, please, can you use your face mask?" he's likely to obey. I mean, approaches the person very nicely. If he approaches the person, he's not likely to obey. So we need to persuade the people, need to be convinced. If you go online, you read what people are saying. It's not true. It's a lie. It just wants to lock us down. All of that. Nobody is praying for a lockdown. Even the CBN recently appealed that there should be that we can't afford. Truly, we can't afford it. But we may be, if we don't change our attitude, we may be going to that. I hope we don't get to that. Really, I hope.
Babaji, when you look at our attitude towards COVID-19, a lot of Nigerians will say, maybe because of the economic situation in the country, but people are still kind of laid back. And the people that you see that the death rate recorded, you see that maybe they are the influential people and everything, but I don't know what, upon all the public enlightenment you've been hearing and reaching out to people, there's still some people that are still very skeptical. They go into large gatherings, they do a lot of things. People are still running their parties on a daily basis. They don't care.
That's why it's a good thing that the president has signed these regulations, which means that for actions that you take in breach of these regulations, there are consequences. And people risk paying a fine of 6 months or going to jail, or both. And along in the regulations, banks, for example, have been told to come up with a schedule for regular cleaning of ATM buttons and even entrance to the commonly used areas, doors and the rest of them, because a lot of our people, when you go to the even the ATM, you will find that no provision has been made for sanitizer so that you can quickly sanitize your hands before leaving the place. So at least with this now, if we truly enforce the letters of these regulations that the president has signed, then banks know that they will be held accountable for any breach. And it also says that anyone in charge of worship centers must ensure that these regulations are complied with, these safety protocols are complied with. If that does not happen, it is that person that will be punished. People sometimes want to be pushed around before they obey simple regulations. There are still some people today who say, oh, it is military regime that fits Nigerians because we don't want to obey any law. You see people who have lived abroad who can never do certain things abroad. They come to their own country to do those things. If there is curfew abroad, will you breach that curfew to go and enjoy yourself in a nightclub or a strip bar? But this is what our people are doing. Some of the people who were arrested the other day, they were actually supposed to travel to UK the next day. They know that in the UK, if there is a curfew, they dare not defy it. But you do that in your country. So I think that there should be some measure of enforcement. We can't simply watch bus drivers disobey government as if there's no law in our country, as if there's no government in place. If there are contraventions, then people should be made, so people should be punished so that they will serve as example to others. All of these areas through which this virus is spread, we have to pay attention to them and ensure that these safety protocols are observed in those areas. Arresting individuals who fail to use mask, yes, it could be difficult to arrest so many people because where do we keep them? Our cells are literally filled up. But if we set an example, make some people examples, people will know that they have to use their mask in public places.
Reaching home stretch now. Now, rather than generating funds for Nigeria and boost the economy, the country's refineries have become conduit pipe for monumental waste. Data from the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation, NNPC, showed that the refinery lost 152.08 billion in 15 consecutive months because they are idle. The four refineries at Port Harcourt, Kaduna, and Warri, with combined installed capacity of 445,000 barrels per day, did not refine crude oil from July 2019 to September 2020. What are we still doing with this refinery? Sometimes last year we discussed about this refineries, and we keep budgeting huge amount of money. They have workers, they have overhead, they're servicing, and we don't get a dime in return.
Yeah, but they are also saying that the reason this is happening at the moment is that they are revamping.
It's always like that.
Yes, I know.
It's always
Yeah,
like that.
they've always said, and this is not the first time they'll be telling us that, okay, we are carrying repair works and all of that. But sometime last year, the NNPC GMD was saying that, look, for this over 20 years that we've been trying to deal with this, we're getting it wrong. We're using wrong models and all of that. We tried to bring in oil traders to help us. No, it didn't work. We even tried to bring in those who built the refineries. You know, that it's about that we are studying models and all of that. And at this time around, they say it's going to be very serious. They are going to end fuel importation by 2003 and 2023. That's the plan. But you see, people are not really.
Those refineries, they don't even have the capacity to to satisfy us.
No, of course, you know there is also Dangote Refinery they are expecting, and they're also thinking of this what do you call them, condensate refineries. The one they want to build in Focados and somewhere in Imo State. You know, just to that the plan, the goal is to stop fuel importation. Of course, Nigeria has no reason. Nigeria has no reason to still be importing fuel. We still remember years back when some people were collecting subsidy and they said they were importing nothing. You know, we can't continue like this. We can't continue like this. People work in those refineries and they are paid for doing nothing. So if it is true that they now have want, okay? Because I think I also read that they are trying to this time around they are using this O&M contract arrangement, you know, or some private investors will be involved and all of that. So we are waiting, but we are not that enthusiastic about it because we've heard this before. We've heard this several times, and nothing has happened. So if they have a magic wand to turn things around, together with the private players, together, Dangote his refinery will take off as soon as possible, and all of that, maybe we'll be able to end this. But look, what is going on does not actually inspire hope. It does not inspire hope.
We've discussed about this severally, and I wonder why the managers of these refineries, where they are still where they are still very optimistic that this refinery will still serve this nation.
Well, it's something that bothers me that we have refineries that are not refining a drop of crude oil. And to imagine that for 15 months, they didn't refine a liter of crude oil. I mean, it's, to say the least, very shameful. We've got to decide what we want to do with these refineries because every year, talking about losses being incurred, we have people who work in those places and they earn fantastic salary, which, as you can see now, will amount to just being paid for doing nothing. Because the refineries are not working. What are the staff doing?
What are they doing?
If it was a private company, would they be keeping staff?
At all.
Possible.
Have you heard that they laid off any staff, despite the fact that for 15 months, the refineries did not refine a liter of petrol? There was a time that Kaduna Refinery, in a whole year, refined 50 million liters. That in a whole year, that's just our consumption for one day by the current figures. That's our consumption for one day. So a whole refinery, probably one of the most modern, because that, it was built in 1980 or so. It's one of the most modern of the refineries. It could only produce 50 million liters in a whole year. So what are we talking about? By now, I would have expected that if you want to bring in the private sector to get involved in running this for you, as we have done with the LNG.
Yeah, LNG.
Look at what we've done with the LNG. We are making money from LNG.
Exactly.
That
Nice
that the state and the federal government share at the end of every year.
Exactly.
You know, billions of dollars. If you want to try that arrangement with the refineries, why not try it? You know, some time ago I suggested when Rufai said they should sack everybody at NNPC, I said, if you sack them, is it not still Nigerians that you are going to employ? Will you bring people from outer space? I then suggested that we could do what they've done with Petrobras. Do a kind of public and private ownership structure. So that they then run it together. If you bring the pub to this, some of the losses that we are incurring, we won't incur, because the businessman who has invested is there to make his money. He's not there to record the kind of losses that we are recording. People have said even revamping these refineries does not make economic sense anymore, because they are old. They are very old. So we have to decide. It has taken, normally we should have built even new refineries. So that as we are trying to fix these ones, we'll be using the new refineries. But the way we are now, we are dependent on the success of Dangote Refinery, which will be doing 650,000 barrels a day of refined petrol. This is where we find ourselves. Unfortunately, I was also reading that they don't even know when when they will go back, where they will find the money. So they are still thinking. For 15 months, we are still thinking about what to do about these refineries, how to find the money, when they will come back on stream. Look, every time we put money down for turnaround maintenance, it's always a huge waste.
Exactly.
Because at the end of the day, you achieve nothing. You achieve nothing. If you bring Chiyoda built the refinery in Kaduna, you bring Chiyoda, they will still, because the thing has been damaged so badly that they won't be able to achieve much. There was a time that they brought DBN from France. DBN was not the one that built it. And they were doing turnaround maintenance. The refinery, the fuel catalytic unit caught fire. And then we had a big problem. At the time when we were trying to revamp the refinery, it caught fire. So this is the situation.
Babajide, Paul Dada, thank you for your contribution today.
My pleasure.
Thank you for being part of the show. Vicky, we'll do this again tomorrow. Offering, join us tomorrow for another episode of the program. You can watch the repeat broadcast tonight at 11. You can also watch us on YouTube, youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. I'm Ayodele Ozubakun. Bye for now, and please keep safe.